Evening, everyone. It's going to be a great time. Sorry that we're starting behind schedule, but I'm really excited about what we're discussing. More so, I'm excited for the section where we cross into, the live discussion because I'm confident that there is so much ground to cover here this evening. There's so much ground to cover here this evening, So I'm already feeling the taste of it, you know, because you know when we're having this series, we focus a lot on um, the husband and the wife, focus a lot on the couple, on the spouses, you know. Um, but today, want to focus on the children, um, with specific focus tonight on the boys, more on the boys, but it's going to involve all the children, but more on the boys tonight. And we're going to do one for the girls as well. We're going to schedule that. We're doing one for the boys. And what we want to say, a lot of it will be specific to the boys, but let me tell you, most of it is going to affect both male and female children. And this is a discussion not just for the men. This is a discussion that requires the women as well. You know, um, so we're calling this "Fathers, are the boys ready to become men?" And let me start it off tonight by saying that age doesn't take care of maturity. Age does not handle, age is not the prerequisite for maturity to take place. Age has very little significance as far as the subject of maturity is concerned. And when we're talking about boys becoming men, we're speaking in terms of boys becoming matured. Age is automatic, but maturity is deliberate. Maturity does not happen automatically as age takes place. It is expected in society that the older a person is, the more matured they should be. But the mistake that we're misappropriating in that thought is that it requires time to attain maturity. But if that time is not purposefully engaged in the pursuit of maturity, then that time does not naturally, automatically equate maturity. That is why we have seen men or matured, let me call them matured males, that cannot be categorized as men because men are the pillar, they are the foundation of the home. A man is somebody that you can build on, somebody of stature. When I say stature, I don't mean the physical size. I mean somebody who is developed within. You can put the weight. You can't put the weight of the whole world on a man. You can only put that on God. But you can put the weight of the entire home on the man. In fact, that is exactly how it is. The weight of the home is on the man. There's this worry lady, is it worry girl? I don't know what her stage name is. She did a video skit for Father's Day that was quite humorous, and she was saying, that it's not easy to be a man. So, daddy, buy a recharge card. Daddy, the NEPA bill is out. Daddy, school fees. Daddy, this. Daddy, that. And then when the father now comes home again at night, she now begins to say, harder, harder, harder. That's what it means to be a man. The weight of the home is on you. But it's not automatically attained. It is not. Because our children are growing old should not be mistaken that they are maturing. And let me just say this today and cross out all the doubts. Education does not equate maturity either, because our children are going to school and they are being educated to function in a place as far as business, career, occupation in society is concerned, does not mean that they are growing matured to become men or women, as it were. Because when we're talking about men, we're talking about Bible definition of men. We're talking about the people that the structure of the home rests on. We're talking about men in the caliber and in the category of Abraham, when God said concerning Sodom and Gomorrah, say, will I do this thing and not talk about it to my friend Abraham? Why? God said, knowing that he will command his children after him. We're talking about men that you can build on. We're talking about people that are stable. We're talking about people that are stable. That is why you should not mistaken the definition of men to also mean that you have financial capability or you have financial capacity. Many a time society thinks you're a man because you can buy cars. No, sir. That you are a man means that when everybody is breaking under pressure, you don't break with them. That you are a man means that you are the stability of the home. And that is not an automatic something you can attain to automatically. Interestingly, we had a discussion last week for married people, for heart to heart, and we're talking along the lines of men as the head being endangered species. And one of the quite interesting underlying factors that came out of that conversation is the fact that what it takes to be a man is inculcated into children. It's not automatic. What it takes to be a woman, even the colors that a man should like. Yes, the boys will have tendencies naturally to become men, but you can program a girl to be like a man. I remember there was this friend of mine back in those days, and people used to complain because all she ever wore was jeans. When I say all, I mean all she ever wore was jeans. And I remember, I think it was for when we were passing out that she finally wore a skirt. It was Panamanian broke out when everybody saw her in a skirt. But she was very close to me, and she told me one day that actually what happened was, I think her dad had the parents had girls, and I think they had one boy, and then they were so sure. I don't know why. I think they did a scan back then, and they were so sure that she was going to be a boy. So they had bought boy clothes for her. They had bought male clothes for her. Lo and behold, here comes a girl. What did they do to the clothes? They just said, whoa, let's be wearing this one for her, and then we'll buy more later. They didn't. She just kept wearing the male clothes, and that's what she wanted. She grew up. So she was, in her outlook, in her mannerisms, she was like a male. So men should be, male child, boys should be trained to occupy the social and the societal requirements of being a man. That you are a man means that you can take your wife's naughtiness at times. I'm choosing my words. I'm choosing my words very intentionally. That you're a man means that you can accommodate. Let me move this closer. That you can accommodate your wife being a woman, because if anything at all, she's multitasking, and she's more. They say this in our stereotypes, but it's just the truth. She's more prone towards the emotional than the logical, especially when she has to pick when a situation is extremely emotional that involves a woman, involves her family, her loved ones. You can count on the man to take more logical responses at those periods of time. But society talks a lot about girls being trained, to be women, or girls being trained to be mothers, or girls being trained to be wives. Society places an emphasis on the girls. Are they learning how to cook? Are the girls learning how to, I don't know, how to take care of children? Are the girls knowing how to tend to home affairs? How about the boys? Who is watching the boys? Who is focusing on the boys? Because the woman might be the one that builds the home, but the man is the foundation of the home. It's upon the man that the home is built. That means that if the man does not collapse, then homes will stand. Hello? This is a very serious matter for me tonight. I want to give you a critical Bible template in the person of Adam. Adam was the one that God gave the instruction regarding the garden. It was to the man. Adam communicated it to Eve. But we know this much, that it was to Eve that the enemy came, because he saw that as a weak point. The Bible calls the woman the weaker vessel. And Eve bulged and fell to that temptation. Adam was not deceived. Adam chose to fall because of Eve. Adam chose to fall because of his wife. The Bible says that Adam was not deceived. The woman was deceived. But where I'm going to that is quite critical is this. After the woman had been deceived, she took of the fruit and she ate it. And then she gave it to Adam and he ate it. And then the Bible says, and then their eyes were open. If you don't look carefully, you might not see it. But you would realize that when Eve ate the fruit, I hope I've not said apple, because that's the stereotype. It's not apple they ate, it's fruit. Hello. When Eve ate the fruit, nothing happened to her. When Eve ate the fruit, her eyes were not opened. The devil's aim was never Eve, it was always Adam. Because until Adam ate the fruit, nothing happened. Why? Because it is the head that dictates what happens to the body. Hello? It was the moment Adam conceded and ate the fruit that the eyes of them both were open. Meaning that as a man, whatever is coming through your wife, you are the final, you are the last line of defense for the home, the man. That's why, for a lot of reasons in recent times, men have been having passions to talk to men. I've been having passions to talk to men. Because let me tell you this, most of the things that come against the home, you are the target. Why? Don't let's get into all this thing of the man and the woman are equal in the home. Oh my God, it's just the devil knows what he's doing. It's just the devil trying to play Ludo with people's heads. Because even in the ordinary game of chess, we know how the game goes. And we know that the game does not come to an end until the king is lost. We know that the whole purpose and the whole directive of the entire game is to protect the king, because the king is the one that gives the instructions. The king is the one that the men will follow. And once the king is dead, the battle is lost. So, if boys are not properly programmed, properly educated, properly trained to take up the role and fill the role of men, that means that society will be at a weak point for the devil to infiltrate. That is why you know that the man is the law of the home, as it were. Even in instances whereby the mothers, have stricter traits, you realize that the way the children respond to the men is different from the way they respond to the woman. You realize that the man is the one that determines and dictates the temperature of the home. That is why a man must not be a thermometer, he must be a thermostat. What is the difference? A thermometer reads the temperature. A thermostat detects it. But enough said about the men. Let's talk about the boys. Maturity, as far as manhood is concerned, is a deliberate thing. Boys don't naturally become men. I like one thing one minister said years ago. He said, I have seen men at 17, and I have seen boys at 70. Because age is only something that can be used, that can be enabled, that can be taken advantage of for development or maturity, progression with time, but it does not happen automatically. With all of the racial awareness and racial, protest that is going on now, I tuned in on one of the discussions, one of the conversations, and there was a line that was said in that conversation that blessed me so much, and it's quite applicable to what we're saying tonight. And that is that racism is not genetical; it is taught. So is manhood. It is not a genetical thing. It can be taught. And that is why, you would see this in what the devil is focusing on now, and the LGBT community, which is to infiltrate the minds of children and begin to confuse them and tell them this is who you are, this is who you are not. Let me tell you this. You remember the story of the Jungle Book? Well, I hope you know that the Jungle Book was based on a true life event or true life occurrence in which a boy was lost in the woods and was raised by wolves. Literally, the boy was raised by wolves. And by the time he was discovered, I think he had grown quite, he was raised by wolves, he had grown quite to a certain age. He was behaving like a wolf. What would you expect? Because a man is what you program him to be. Manhood does not mean that because you are a male, you become a man. Because you have the genitals of a male does not mean you will evolve in natural transition and end up being a man. No, that is a deliberate action. I want to speak about manhood. I've emphasized this. I just want to say this one more time. Manhood speaks about responsibility. It speaks about you being the stability of the home. It speaks about you being the thermostat, not the temperature, or not you being the thermostat, not the thermometer, rather. You being the one that determines the temperature of the home. You being the last line of defense. So let's start with this very quickly, because I want to go into the discussion. But let me just say this quick points, and then we can start discussing, guys. Let me say this, that parents, and I'm speaking this generally, men, women, and in general respect to the children, both the boys and the girls, we don't allow them to do a lot of things themselves. I don't know where we got this virus from. Listen. We don't allow the children to figure out there are some things you have to figure out on your own. I was using this illustration. Somebody, I think, we're discussing, and I said to her, you can teach a person in a training room or in a classroom all you want about driving until they sit behind the steering. They don't start learning anything. Parents, we circumvent, we get too involved in the development of children. Think about it back in the day. That's not how our parents raised us. They were not always, in our space. No. And I understand it's because of the way society is now. I'm getting to it. I know because of the challenges of society now. For example, when we were growing up, it was a community that raised the children, and when our own parents grew up, it was the village that raised the children, and maybe their own parents before that, it was the city that raised the children. I hope you notice that the circumference is getting smaller, meaning that by the time our own children are raising their children, maybe it will not even be the house, because now it's only the house that raises the children. By the time our children are raising their own children, maybe it does be the room that raises the children. Because it's getting smaller. I mean, it's because society could be more trusted back then, but now the space of the people you can trust is reducing, because even when it comes to in-laws, or rather, even when it comes to relatives, you're even skeptical how you expose your children to relatives, because we've heard too many stories about what happens with relatives and children, and people get sexually abused. So as a result of that, caution, we're exercising caution. But let me now put a note of warning. Let me put a note of warning. Because the transition from children to adult, from boys to men, or from girls to women is not automatic. It also means that if you put too much protection around your children will end up getting to the university as still children. They will get to university, they would have grown through the stage of teenagers to the state of young adults. They will enter the children, they will enter the university educationally matured, but as far as feelings and emotions are concerned, they will enter the university as boys. Imagine putting a primary school or a secondary school child in the university. What does that mean? That is a recipe for disaster. That is what happens when you see children fall into what they used to call it back then, the jambide rush. And the jambide rush is becoming a greater epidemic. They are vulnerable. They are not streetwise. They know mathematics, they know English, they can put their tenses into proper perspective, but their common sense is not at the level it should be, because common sense, I don't have to remind you, is not common, meaning that common sense is not automatic. Common sense is something people are trained or prepared to have. Hello? Children will get into adult, and let me say, some of them will pass through that university stage not still learning, because now we have secondary school universities. Those are universities whereby the child is not still on their own, whereby they still have dormitories like we had in boarding house in secondary school. We have boarding house universities. And sadly, for some universities, the child is still going from home. The driver still drops the child. The child doesn't know how to take Okada. If he or she has, I don't care how rich you are. Hello. The child doesn't know how to take public transport. They don't know how to fend for themselves. They don't know how to get home if they need to get. Everything is on a platter of gold. This is trouble. I remember something my father-in-law said, back in the day that stuck to me. I remember our children were still quite young then, and we went there, and the children were playing with sand, and went to get them to stop, and he said, no, we should leave them. He said that's how, because he was a medical doctor. He said that's how their humility, that's how they will grow immune to diseases. He said that's how they will grow in their humility. He said that's how their defenses grow. I know that's a blessing that we're enjoying right now when it comes to the coronavirus or the corona epidemic, because Nigerians, the things we have been exposed to, we're not so vulnerable to the coronavirus. And let me tell you, as far as the coronavirus is concerned, let me tell you, the government is finally catching on to the fact that, look, life has got to go on, because it's like trying to shut down society because of a flu epidemic. You can't do that. Corona has come to stay. It's part of life. Hello. And they have even discovered that the people that we have to be cautious or worried about as far as corona is concerned are elderly people or people that have underlying medical conditions. Otherwise, for the average person that gets it, it has 95% chance of survival. Hello, sir. What are we talking about? And that's even at times without any medication. It has 95% of chance of survival, especially based on how young they are. Somebody was telling me recently that they have discovered a statistics that when children have it, babies, young children, they don't even know. They go through it and come out on the other side as if nothing even happened. Do you understand what I'm saying? As if nothing even happened. Praise God. So, parents, we have to allow our children to do some growing up. I was guilty of this. And, I don't know what to call it. I don't know whether it's a love or concern for the children, or whether, because I had to get down with myself back then, or whether it was just a sense of selfishness, because we don't want the children to get injured. We don't want them to, for anything bad to happen to them, because when it happens to them, ultimately it becomes our problem. Hello. And when I started catching on to this, I realized what I was doing to my kids. I realized I was killing them. Yes, I was denying them of maturing. I was denying them of growing up. Recently, so a few days ago, it was raining. One of my kids came to meet me. Said, Daddy, can I go and play in the rain? I said, go and play in the rain. Hello, didn't you play in the rain? My parents, didn't you play in the rain? That's why we're as strong as we are now. Hello. Let them fight. Listen, unless when the children are playing too roughly that they can injure themselves, other than that, let children be children. At times, I will enter the room. In fact, before, at times, when I hear the boys playing and it gets too rough, I don't say game. I don't know whether you understand what I mean by game. Someone is stopping blows somewhere. Look, game. But they're playing. I can hear them laughing. And then I just enter the room, just look at them, and I'll just come. I'll just go out of the room. But that was in the former house. Nowadays, I don't even enter the room. I just stare and I just ignore them. At times, I just play in my heart. I just pray in my heart. I say, God, please don't let them get too injured. Why? Your children should wake up from time to time with pain. They should wake up from pain if they are proper children. Boys should be boys. Girls should be girls. Some of you women, they need to climb trees. That's why the children, they will grow up, they will not be balanced. One of my pastors had an experience. Pastor told experience. Quite outstanding experience. He was by the roadside, and he noticed that he observed that there was one lady that had been there before he did, had been there for quite a while. And she just stood there. Eventually, she mustered up enough boldness and came across to him and said, please, I need your help. And he was wondering, when the strangers come up to you and ask you that, you're wondering all manner of things, but what he heard was, he wasn't prepared for it. Lady said, please, can you help me to cross the road? Is that what did you say? She said, I can't cross the road. I'm 21-year-old, thereabout lady, 20-something-year-old lady. She can't cross the road. Why? Because crossing the road is not automatic. Crossing the road is deliberate. Crossing the road is manual. You learn it. So even if you have not learned and you're 45 years old, you can't still cross the road. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying. And we have seen this. Listen. Bible says, follow those who through faith and patience inherit the promises. I have just 3 minutes more to round up. I'm not done yet, but we'll continue next week. Bible says, follow those who through faith and patience inherit the promises. What model of raising children are we copying or are we following now? Is it those of the Caucasians, the developed world, as they call them in quote? I really wonder that definition now, because we realize that they were the greatest victims of the coronavirus. Hello. Anyway, the developed world as they were. But in how they have raised children, what can we see from their template when we look at it? When I hear all this, and there's very recent cases of it. When I hear people, of people being schemed in all this Yahoo boys, I hope you know that it's usually for Caucasian and usually for their women. And it's usually the same play. The game hasn't changed. They will tell the woman, actually they said that they usually pry on women that have either divorced or lost their spouses. And they will start telling the women that, look, we love you. And the woman will start selling the hard-earned money that man has made or that she has made. They will start selling the money to the guy. Somebody they have never seen before. Can you beat that? Sir, why? Because they have not gone through life. So they have not been properly trained or equipped to handle the place of responsible thinking. Wow. Let me round it up so we can go into our discussion, because I can feel something brewing in the conversation room on Google Meet. I can feel energy rising. I can sense it in my spirit. Energy is rising from the men. So man, just give me one more minute. Just give me one more minute, guys. Let me round it up before we go into the discussion with the story of a monk that I heard years ago. This monk took a particular interest in butterflies. He just loved them. He just loved seeing them. And he created a natural habitat for them where they could, where they could reproduce and all that. The whole process of butterflies. Butterflies would lay their larva. The larva will evolve, and turn into a pupa, if I remember correctly, and then eventually it will spin a cocoon, a hard shelled cocoon, whereby that butterfly, that caterpillar, will go through metamorphosis, and it will evolve into the final stages. It will evolve out of that cocoon. It will emerge from that cocoon a butterfly. But the monk had observed that the process was a very painful process, because when that butterfly has formed in the cocoon and it wants to come out, it eventually is able to make a small hole through that cocoon, because that cocoon was made to protect it from predators, right? So in a hard shell cocoon, it will eventually be able to make a small hole, and then the hole won't be big enough to contain, for it to easily be able to come out. Then the butterfly will now start struggling. It's a painful ordeal. It's a painful process. It will start struggling, start squeezing itself through that hole, struggling to come out, and then eventually, after what seems like a lifetime, it will eventually come out. By the time it eventually does that, it's so tired, it has finally come out. It's so tired, it can't even fly. It just stays still for a while. You even almost think the butterfly is dead, because the energy it has to exert through that process is so painful and so energy consuming. Eventually, when it has gathered up his breath, it will open his wings, his beautiful wings, and flap them, and immediately he will start flying. Immediately. Nobody has trained you to fly. You just start flying. So one day, the monk decided to help one of the butterflies that was coming out of the cocoon. And he took a pin and, carefully broke and created and made the hole that the butterfly will come out to be a lot bigger and lot accommodated. And guess what? Just as he predicted, the butterfly came out without any struggle, without any stress, without any challenges, nothing whatsoever. It came out and it didn't even need to gather up its strength. It didn't need to catch its breath. Immediately, the butterfly opened up its wings and began to flap. But what the monk could not predict was the butterfly began to flap, but it could not fly. Why? Because nature, the process of the butterfly coming out of that small hole is the process whereby the butterfly exercises the muscles of his wings, whereby they gain enough strength to actually be able to carry the butterfly. Because I don't know whether you have observed that the wings of the butterfly are so light, yet it can carry it because it has developed strength in the process of engaging with the experience of life. But when you help the butterfly, you handicap it. You handicap it. You turn the butterfly into a handicap, a disabled. And that is how children become liabilities. Guys, can I have you join the discussion tonight? Yes, Pastor Toy, Pastor Naomi, Mr. Dare, can you guys come on board, please? I feel like you're bubbling with matter to join into this conversation. Yeah, Pastor Toy. Yes. Hmm. 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 Yeah. Hmm. 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 Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Hmm. That's what I'm saying. You have done very well. You have done very well. I discovered that, and everybody will be able to bear me witness, is naturally instinctive for the children to want to try things. It's us, the parents, that say, no, you can't do that. It's us that say that, no, that is too difficult for you. No, you can't carry this. The only way the child will grow their muscles is by flexing it. Muscles only, in fact, they call it getting ripped for a reason, because you have to shred the muscles before in their, that's why it feels painful. And then and then they now, in their healing process, they now expand. That is the only way capacity grows. It's by engaging it consciously. I like the word you kept emphasizing, Pastor Tony. Deliberate. That is the word, deliberate. Because listen, I got to realize, parents, we are the problem. I located that I was the problem. I was a great hindrance, a great stumbling stone in the growth and maturity of my kids, because a lot of times I say, no, that's too much. That's too, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's simple chores. And then sadly, to not compound matters, we will now employ house helps. We will have steward, we will have gatesman, we will have gardener. So what would the child do? I had an experience that brought me to almost tears. Almost tears. There's a family, a very known family in Nigeria, not just Ibadan, not the entirety of Nigeria. Very influential family. Their parents were extremely wealthy. Extremely wealthy. Their father had been a billionaire years ago. I hope you know the implications of that. I mean, billionaire. And when their mother passed away, and they were doing the wake keep for the mother, interestingly enough, I was so busy doing so many things for them, I couldn't even pay attention during that ceremony. But I had to now do some other things that involved the video. And one of the boys, I think the eldest boy, if I remember correctly, who is also now an extremely wealthy person extremely wealthy, was saying that the things he could remember about his mom was how she raised them, how she trained them, how she brought them up. And even though they were that wealthy, they used to have at any point in time, they used to have like 2 or 3 house helps. Yet their mother made sure that they did chores, that you had your days. I mean, you had your own, they had a mansion, a mansion. And you know, mansions require a lot of work to maintain. Their parents, each person had their own place that they had to sweep. Each person had their own place that they had to mop. I said you had to do it every morning before going to school. And he said one of those days, that he was trying to escape that responsibility. So he made sure he woke up late. He said he made sure, he did everything at the last minute because he knew that his friends would come and pick him up to go to school. And by the time the car arrived there and they honked, he said that was the opportunity to get out of the house. So he grabbed his bag and was running out. That's when his mother called out. As he was entering the car, mother called and said, "Have you finished your chores?" He said he had no answer. The mother told the driver that please, she told everybody in the car that please, I'm so sorry, you'll have to wait for him. She said, get back in the house and go and get it done now. And at that moment, the guy burst into tears. He said those are the things that built resilience in him. He said he didn't understand at that point in time what his mother was doing for him. He didn't understand what the father was doing. So those are the things that built resilience in him, that have made him be able to engage with the toughness of life, and has equipped him to be able to handle responsibility. And interestingly, I had an experience with his sister, this man's sister, who is also extremely influential. And we happened to travel together, and I noticed that I was the one that was driving. She was sitting, and there were other people in the car. But I noticed that she did not sleep the entire trip, and it was late at night. We're coming back from an event. We had to get back to Ibadan. She didn't sleep the entire trip, and she told me that it was actually something her father raised or trained in her. That her father told her that you never sleep when somebody is when the driver is driving the car. So because the driver can become careless and can make mistakes and drive you. So the father said that it was a law. The father trained her to stay awake. So he said she never sleeps, no matter how tired she is in a journey. Can you imagine that? Their parents, even though they were so wealthy, so influential, they did not deny their children the responsibility of becoming functional members of society. And I think I need to take a break there. Yeah, yes, guys. Does anyone want to get into this circle, the big circle? you know, does anyone want to get in? Yes. Yeah, Pastor Naomi. Hmm. Huh. Wow. Hmm. Wow. That's right. Sorry, say that again, Pastor Nemi. It was as if a bullet passed my ear. Can you repeat what you just said? He lives in Lekki, and I said he's never been to Ajah is all his life. Wow. Ah, is that even doing business and first class? It's chartered. Very good. They have chartered his life. Hmm. It wasn't functional. Finds his level. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. They're more exposed, actually. Hmm. Hmm. Wow. And I know there's still much more. Just like Pastor he didn't end, he just stopped, because we can be here all night, but you see, um, while you were talking, Pastor Naomi, I remember something that happened to me a while back, and I realized that our children are not as innocent as we think they are. And that's because it's a default thing for parents. You always see your child as a child. And you will even see parents that their children are already parents, and they still refer to that child as they still call. Imagine calling a grown man like me my baby. With I mean, my youngest is over 11. I mean, imagine calling a grown man like that, because in the mind is still always a baby. And what we don't realize is we forget what was going through our mind when we were their age. We forget. And then if you now come to the consciousness that because of their own exposure, it is times three at the least, your level of exposure. That is a very scary thought. I know parents that are scared to have the sex discussion with their child. Do you have any idea what that child has been exposed to? You are protecting them as if they're in a cocoon in the home. How about school? And let me tell you this, school is not equipped to train your child for life. School is equipped to train your child academically, educational wise, not for life. That's why it's so painful when you see parents blaming the schools for their children's vices. It's a failure of parenting. I remember an experience that happened with somebody with a Sunday school teacher, and was telling me, and was so furious that a child did something inappropriate in the Sunday school in church. And the parent now took the child, and took the child to the Sunday school teacher and said, "What are you teaching my child in Sunday school?" And he almost wanted to tell her, pardon my French, "Are you mad? How much time does your child spend in Sunday school? How much time? You come to church only on Sundays. You don't even come for midweek service. Your child is with us for only 2 hours of an entire week. And you are asking me, the Sunday school teacher, what are you teaching my child?" That is failed parenting. That's exactly what is failed parenting. Parents don't understand that where the home is the institution equipped to train the children for life, to train them for humanity. I mean, the example you were giving, Pastor Naomi, you are a bold man. I'm not as bold as you are, so I won't mention names. But we know a reputable family in Nigeria. I don't know whether I even mention the name, because everybody will know what I'm talking about. I don't know whether I mention the name would do not mention the name would do any good. A reputable family where their father was so wealthy that when we were a lot younger, they were interviewing him on TV, and they asked him if he about the devourer, and he said, "Devourer?" And he responded as if he was completely ignorant. And he said, "It's the money that is not substantial that a devourer will enter into and devour." He said, "The kind of money I have, if the devourer should enter," I said, "when he has eaten all he can eat, he will go." This same man died at the time of his life, a sudden death. And in less than 10 years, the children, what the devourer could not devour, the children completely devastated until there was nothing to write home about. I think I'm done. I'm done. If anyone wants to chip in, please go ahead. But I think I'm done tonight. I feel, yeah, Mr. Dari, good evening. You're welcome. Yeah. Wow. Wow. Hmm. Wow. Hmm. Yeah. Wow. Hmm. Hey, wow. Mr. David, that's a powerful prayer. That boys will not grow to be boys, but they will grow to be men. Wow. And you use the word exposure in a new light, because we had used it before with the fact that they're exposed to information, but you use the word exposure that we should expose them to life. I know it's a dangerous world out there, but it's not going to get less dangerous. And the sooner our children start getting to experience a little bit in a controlled environment, in a controlled atmosphere of that dangerous world, the sooner they can begin to adapt to it. Because man needs to adapt to his environment. It won't get less dangerous. So sometimes as the children are growing up, send them down the road. He said, I'm scared that they might get molested sexually. Do you think that boys that grow up to be boys or girls that grow up to be girls and instead of growing up to be women or grow up to be men do also get sexually molested? Because they're still naive. Because they don't even know the tail signs. At times they don't even know how to look at the wind and tell. Jesus said, "Are you hypocrites? You can't tell the wind." They don't know how to look at it and tell. And say that, look, this is looking like this situation. It's like instincts of animals. At times you just know, live here now. You just know this situation is becoming deadly. Parents, let's not suffocate our children. Let's not stop them from living life. And let's not stop them. Let's not hinder them. Let's not be the stumbling block out of love for them, as it were. Let's not be the one that gets in the way of them becoming responsible members of society. Let's not be the stumbling block that hinders them from evolving and maturing in life. Amen. Yeah, Dr. Caleb, you want to say something before we close? Oh, Pastor Baby, I didn't even see you. I didn't see you here before. Yeah, Dr. Caleb, please. Go on. Pastor Baby, are you going? Okay, yes. Good evening, Pastor Baby. You're crashing good. Hmm. 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 Wow. Hmm. Could take it for granted. Yeah. Oh my God. Hmm. 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 Wow. Hmm. That's right. Hmm. Hmm. Ah, Pastor Bibi, thank you. That's powerful. The only thing that starts from the top is a grave. That is the only thing that starts from the top. Parents, let your children rise. Otherwise, you have buried them. That's so powerful, Pastor Bibi. Yeah, Dr. Caleb. Good evening. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Oh, the dimension of what? Sorry, can you repeat that, Dr. Caleb? Dimension of what did you call it? Imitation. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Mm. Wow. Hmm. Hmm. Wow. That's so powerful, Dr. Caleb. Wow. Because as you were speaking, like you rightly said, it's opening another dimension entirely. Because as you were speaking, it was firing up so many things, in my head, in my heart, in my mind, of cycles of abuse, and cycles of dysfunctionality are programmed in what children are exposed to. And let me say this, parents. Let me say this, parents. Uh, that's why at times what spouses fight in each other is more than just fighting the spouse. At times they are trying to preserve the future of their children and not make what could have been a blessing to turn into a curse. Because children learn by repeating. That is just how it is. They learn by repeating. Is what the child is exposed to. And let me tell you, it's one of the part of the reasons why we don't, as parents, we don't do some things. Listen. If you ever raise a hand against your wife, you have also instinctively programmed in your daughter to marry someone that will beat her. How would you feel when they're beating her, your own daughter? How would you feel when it gets to that time? When it gets to that time. And what you said about imitation, it's basically, something that we had to learn the hard way in ministry, because we forgot that, we had to climb to where we are as far as spiritual maturity is concerned. So when people came in without allowing them to go through the rigors of spiritual exercises that we had to go through, we wanted to take them to the level we were, they won't be able to sustain it. Everything in the principle of God, everything must climb. It must climb. Even Jesus Christ, if God wouldn't break the rules for his children, what do you think? Because even Jesus Christ had to begin as a child, as a baby. Can you imagine Jesus Christ using pampers or using diapers rather. Can you imagine Jesus Christ requiring somebody to follow God's instruction on his behalf? That's why the angel appeared to his parents and warned them, because Jesus was completely dependent on them and they had to be the one to be accountable for it. Can you imagine Jesus Christ? Can you imagine God coming through that process just to help us understand that everything must be allowed to grow? Yes, Mrs. Adeleke, I think you want to say something. I'm trying to. Oh, what happened, Mrs. Adeleke? Have I muted you accidentally? Oh my! I hope that wasn't okay. Yeah, yeah, she's back. She's back. Yes, Mrs. Adeleke. We can't hear you. Yes, we can hear you now. Hmm. 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 Wow. Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much for adding that crucial conversation tonight, Mrs. Adeleke. Thank you so much for gracing us with that. That's so powerful, and I think it's a good note to bring this wonderful session to a close. It's been a definitive session, and what I mean by that is it's beyond beyond words that have been spoken tonight. I believe that there have been transference of trails of thoughts, and there have been transference of attitudes and of conceptions and of perceptions. So I pray tonight that we would understand the intent of what has been discussed, and that we will begin to show forth the results of it in our different and respective areas of life. I want to thank you all once again for joining us tonight on all the platforms, on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Instagram. Instagram has even gone off. We've exceeded the 1 hour. So sorry about that for the crowd on the Instagram. But I want to especially appreciate the people on Google Meet. These meetings will not be complete without the full rounded conversation that we bring every single time. And I can't think of any better way I would have wanted to I would have wanted to have this evening or spend this evening than doing this with everyone right now. It's been such a blessing, and we want to pray that you have enjoyed this and this has impacted you as much as it has impacted us, and we pray that we would see the full result and the full bloom of all that has been spoken and been discussed in our respective homes and in the lives of our children. And with that, I think we're going to bring it to a close, and I want to say good night to everyone. Thank you, guys. It's been a wonderful session. Thank you, guys. Good night. Good night. Good night. Oh, baby T. Good night there. Omo T. Good night. Yeah. Good night. Thank you there. Okay. It is well. Thank you.